program may be pre-recorded.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
You're listening to the best of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm your host, Wakunjahade, Distant Thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot. We discuss national and local Native American news and events. As we all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakunjahade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. And we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Zoe, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is supported by MN50, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Yes, MN350 sure is. And we have, Zoe, I am so happy for the guests that we have today and so excited to talk to them. It's the people from the University of Minnesota, and they did this great study under the Truth Project. And I want to go right away, because there's three of you guys. I want to go right away to Misty and talk about the project, and we're going to get rocking and rolling right away. Being a former University of Minnesota student myself, really excited to hear what the Truth Project is and what it's done. And I'm so grateful to have you all on.
Hello, Waju. My name is Misty Blue. I'm a member of the Wyeth Nation and have descendancy and family out at Lower Sioux Indian community as well. I was actually the project coordinator for the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council. So this was actually a project in partnership with Minnesota Indian Affairs Council and the University of Minnesota. And we took a look at tribal university relations, considering that the University of Minnesota is a land grab university. We wanted to better understand the past, present, and future of tribal university relations.
Well, welcome. And I wouldn't mind introducing everybody else here and what they had to do with that. And I appreciate you correcting me about MIAC and your big role in that, Misty. Really appreciate that. Okay.
Well, I guess I'll go. I can introduce myself, Robert.
Oh, right on. Great to see you. And I just have to give a quick shout out. When I saw you and I believe Ann at an event that just blew my mind, and I said, I got to get you on the radio show. And I'm so glad this has happened right now. Please introduce yourself, and I'm really excited to hear.
Well, Chimigwich, Robert, for having us. Well, Buju, Anishinaabe Duke, Adriana Goodwin, Indigenous Cause, Washkubanesique, Nindigo, Mayangan, Nindudem, Misquagami, Wizagai, Gunning, Nindunjaba. Greetings, relatives. My colonized name is Adriana Goodwin. I'm a citizen of the Red Lake Nation. And I wore a couple different hats for the project. I first began as a research assistant, and then shortly thereafter, I was appointed the Tribal Research Fellow by the Red Lake Nation. And then now, today, I've been very fortunate and honored to have worked very closely with Ann and Misty to get the report published and to get this good work and this truth-telling process out for the world to see. So, Chimigwich, for having us here again today.
I appreciate it. Ann, do you mind introducing yourself?
Bonjour, Anne Gerjola, Indigenous Cause, Azabagoni, Zayangan, and Dunjaba. Hello, my name is Anne Gerjola. I am a descendant of the Boys Fort Band of Chippewa. My mom is enrolled up at Net Lake. On the Truth Project, I was the university project coordinator and a research assistant. And currently I work in the Office of Native American Affairs as the project manager. So looking forward to seeing through some of these recommendations at the university.
Wow,
It's good to be
perfect.
with you all.
Hey, we really appreciate it. Misty, how did you come about picking this team, and how did that come about?
Yeah, actually, the team kind of picked me. So the university, this work was sort of started for two reasons. The Minnesota Indian Affairs Council issued a series of resolutions back in June of 2020, basically calling on the university to be better relatives with tribes and tribal members and the Native community overall. Again, given that history as a land grab university, they wanted to just start with that. Secondly, the High Country News published a sort of an expose around land grab universities that same year. And so the start of the project was through the direction of Tad Johnson, and Tad and Anne and others wrote a grant to the Mellon Foundation, and were awarded awarded a grant to start this project, knowing that they wanted to do this, I think, in a way that centered Native voices and was, Native led. They partnered with MIAC, Minnesota Indian Affairs Council. The Minnesota Indian Affairs Council issued a request for proposals, and I, having a background in public health research and having a background in grassroots organizing, was really interested in doing this work. I thought that this research project was happening, in a good way, where they were having, that partnership inside of the university, but also outside, and was being led by great people like Tad Johnson and Shannon Kijik. So that was sort of where I started, and that's how we all got connected on this.
Wow, I just want to ask. To me, this is kind of like, truth telling can also bring up trauma, and I'm wondering, were you worried about that, Adriana?
So something that I kind of like talk about is we know the stories, we carry, grief and intergenerational and secondary trauma and all of this sadness from all of these different things that took place. But then when we started to really dig into the research is when we realized just how traumatic and painful at times it was going to be to carry the weight of some of this research. And, there was times throughout the process while Anne and I were sitting at the university archives looking through these documents where we just had to quit, where we seen those connections from those certain eras in history, such as the relocation era, and how those policies have negatively impacted our communities today. And so that was also a really central part of the project, is the past, the present, and the future, and how, we believe that we need to understand that past and that history to inform the present. And so we can, reimagine what we want for the next 7 generations to have. And so this truth-telling process was very hard and at times to carry, and to have to be in institutions that tried to eradicate our people, and that took so much from our people.
Wow. And what about you? Did you have to smudge off every night after working on this? How did that affect you, and how was that affecting you during this research?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our funding came from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation through the Minnesota Transform Racial Justice Project at the university. And we were really lucky to have them as our funders because we were able to go back to them time and time again and ask for more resources. So one thing that we asked for was increased funding to cover the costs of both Native counseling, grief counseling services, as well as spiritual advisors who would come in and help us try to process some of these feelings that were coming up. These experiences with secondary trauma aren't, I don't believe, were anything that any of us were expecting, but that we encountered very quickly into the start of the project.
Wow, we're here at Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're talking to the truth tellers here, the project that we heard about the University of Minnesota and all the land grab. We'll be right back. When we get back, we're going to really dig deep in this. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff. Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Attention all loons. Crooner's Supper Club is hosting the first annual Loons on the Lake Comedy Festival June 21st through 24th with 40 comedians from all across the country entered into a $10,000 comedy competition. See star performances from comedy legend Jimmy Walker from Good Times, Jamie Kennedy from Scream 1 and 2, Erica Rhodes from HBO, and Don McMillan, the PowerPoint comedian from America's Got Talent. Check out the fun at loonsonthelake.com or stop by Crooners off Moore Lake and Highway 65. That's June 21st through 24th. loonsonthelake.com.
With all the convenient big box stores that sell appliances, why do so many Minnesotans choose Warner Stellian? Check online to learn that Warner Stellian is a Minnesota family-owned business for over 60 years. Warner Stellian sells more brands than anyone else, and our passionate specialists are committed to impressing you so much that you'll refer us to everyone you know. That's our mission here at Warner Stellian. Ask around. Check us out online. And when it's your time to buy appliances, join over 300,000 Minnesota homeowners and choose the specialists, Warner Stellian.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
The show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Zoe, I know that you have some experience in this. Why don't you grab a couple questions here with these true warriors?
Yeah, I'm Gwitch, Robert. So yeah, I just put it in we have a little chat that we share with our guests so we can, talk a little bit. I was just talking about being a Mellon undergraduate at Macalester. And so I was really happy to hear that the Mellon treated you guys so well, because I think it's so important. And often, we don't always hear about foundations accommodating people as much, but it seems like that's happening more today. But regardless of the point, I just wanted to ask a little more about the timeline of the project. I know you already spoke a little bit about it, Misty, but just about when those projects start, how long was the research process, and did you guys start writing the report? I guess would be my first question.
Sure, I can go ahead and give a little high overview. So I was hired in the summer of 2021. So that was sort of the completion of our core research team. Over the fall, Ann, Todd, and I did meet with all 11 tribes in Minnesota. It was still kind of COVID, so we did some virtual, some on the phone, and some in person. We really wanted to meet with the tribes and just raise awareness around this issue of land grab universities and university tribal relations. Again, this is a new conversation. This, that isn't necessarily a relationship that the university has really cultivated in its existence. So we wanted to just start opening up this conversation with people. And the best way to do that, I think, is just go down and visit and see how much people know about this. And then we did have an ask as well. We said, we want to go on this, really challenging endeavor, but good endeavor. And we'd like you to send someone to be part of our research team. We want to build a strong Native-led research team. And, thankfully, all tribes were able to have someone participate with us. And so in order to get we call this group the Tribal Research Fellows, in order to get the Tribal Research Fellows ready to go into the archives or do a project of their own choosing that may be different than archival research, we had a training. We hosted that training in January of 2022. And then we paired everyone with mentors from the University of Minnesota faculty. And, we kind of sent people off and to do their research. We were there to support them as well. That happened all through spring semester. At that time, Adriana was named, she can say more about this, she was named a Tribal Research Fellow and a research assistant. And her and Anne, spent some time in the archives, deeply in the archives as well, conducting their own research. There are a couple other arms of this too, but I'll let others speak about that. We culminated the Tribal Research Fellowship with a symposium that was hosted in May of 2022. We invited tribal leaders, many were in attendance, either in person or virtual. And we invited leadership from the University of Minnesota. We had some representation over some of the time. It was a full day symposium. And then that's when, we wanted to make that conversation happen, start and be in a private way. So that was an invitation only event. And then for the last, 9 months, almost a year, it was the writing process. It was writing, it was editing, it was making sure that we were being transparent and sharing back what we have in our report back with tribes to get feedback. And that's sort of what led us here today to the release of the report.
Yeah, go ahead, Zoe. Well, okay. Well, you're in mute there. Well, I'll jump in here, seeing that this is radio. We have over 200,000 people listening to us all over Turtle Island here, and so I'm a little nervous, but that's a daily thing for me. Adriana, talk about your research. Let's get into the nuts and bolts here, because I'm reading this and I'm going, all right. First of all, I'm a former University of Minnesota student. And second of all, I'm Native American, which and Ho-Chunk, when we talk about removal, Ho-Chunks were removed in 1862 here, and we're one of the original treaty signers. But this information that you guys, what was the most surprising thing that you came up with in your research?
So I guess I can start. And there was, like Misty had mentioned, there were so many different tentacles in different areas of research that took place that made the broader truth report. And so one area that I was really able to focus on was the Permanent University Fund. So I was a part of a capstone research project at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. And when I was brought onto the project in the summer of 2021, Anne and Tad and others had already been fostering relationships with the University of Minnesota with different organizations under that larger umbrella. And so they had fostered a relationship with the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs. And through that partnership, one of the professors at the Humphrey School had picked up on it and decided to create a capstone research project around a financial accounting or forensic accounting of the Permanent University Fund. And the Permanent University Fund was created at the founding of the university to launder the sale of the lands, the dispossessed lands that were violently taken from Ojibwe and Dakota people, to be held in a permanent account in perpetuity by the University of Minnesota. And so from 1880 to 2020, the university had accrued about $180 million on iron ore royalties. And so that price is not including the sale of the iron and all of those other kind of costs associated with the sale of something. That number is not adjusted for inflation. And so that was a pretty astounding finding, to be able to kind of see just how much wealth the University of Minnesota has created off of that initial taking of land. And so that $180 million that I'm talking about is coming from about 24,000 acres of land that the university currently still owns today. And so through that, again, we were just able to see just one little snippet into how much wealth has been amassed throughout this time. And then Anne spent a lot of time on that, on the founding board of regents.
Yeah, I was just going to get with that, and that's an amazing. Can you tell us who these regents were, and are they going to be familiar names to us all? This is this land grab is an amazing thing that this university, my university, has a history of here.
Yeah, so my research initially began at the Minnesota Historical Society. And what I was trying to figure out was to see if we could find the scrip receipt from the first parcel of land that the university sold to fund their permanent university fund. Because I don't know, I just felt like that land should be honored in some way. But when I started to see the names that were signing off on the bonds from the land that the university had acquired through expropriation, it was men like Henry Sibley, Alexander Ramsey, Henry Rice, men who we know were the creators behind a lot of anti-Indian policy back in the mid-1800s. And so that sent me back to the university archives because I really wanted to see what their daily business was like. And so it was astounding to see how much they had saved about their communications back and forth between each other and industry officials in like timber, mining, railroad. And they really maximized their profits by leveraging their conflicts of interest in policy and industry.
Wow, those guys have had a lot of fingers in a lot of things in this state, because I know there's research on the removal of the Ho-Chunk, and boy, they were in the Knights of the Forest, and this is just really crazy, and we've named so many things after them. Hey, we're talking about the Truth Project, and we're truth-telling right here with some great people here, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Please stay with us.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, troublemaker, and host of the Bradcast. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Howl! If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Many car dealers will quote safety stats, but firsthand experience really tells the story. When I bought my 2017 Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota, the service manager told me it was one of their safest vehicles ever made. Then I saw it for myself. A car hit me at 35 miles per hour, and the Sienna saved me. Its design absorbed the collision, and although it took a wallop, I walked away, and I now have a 2022 Sienna. When it comes to safety, I personally vouch for Toyotas. Be safe and get one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
New at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Kuma wood stoves and fireplace inserts. American-made, sturdy and efficient wood heaters. All models qualify for 30% tax credit you can earn for installing efficient and renewable wood heat. Come see the new wood-burning Kuma stoves and fireplace inserts.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has been selling wood-burning products since 1977. Kuma wood burners are hard-working home heaters made from heavy, laser-cut steel. Kuma stoves and fireplace inserts have cast iron doors and large self-cleaning glass windows. You can see the firelight and feel the heat from their efficient fire. One of Woodland's many choices to make fire work for you and your home.
Work with the chimney and installation experts. They not only install, but will guide you if you want to install yourself. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services. 2023 is here, and you can make it the year of the Eagle with the National Eagle Center. You and your family can enjoy exciting Eagle experiences, including field trips, private habitat tours, and exclusive behind-the-scenes tours. Meet live eagles up close, view bald eagles and golden eagles in the wild, and receive personal one-on-one education with dedicated and knowledgeable Eagle experts as you journey into the world of eagles like never before. Learn more and plan your unforgettable Eagle experience today at nationaleaglecenter.org/experiences.
Discover what fuels you and score grill savings you can't find at big box warehouses. Warner Stellian specialists make it simple to choose the perfect gas grill, pellet smoker, or griddle from the hottest brands. And you'll love our exclusive in-store deals. We have the lowest grill prices of the year. Plus, get 3 boxes of no-name meats and seafood. Your time is money, so let our pros handle the assembly and then just tell us where and when you want it, and we'll deliver it for free. Only from your local grill headquarters, Warner Stellian.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Dan Riva. Today, mostly cloudy, high 43. Tonight, more clouds, low 30. Sunday, some sunshine, high 46. It's spring and time to take a good look at your lawn. Natural Lawn can help you with bare spots and brown patches. They take an environmentally friendly approach to lawn care to feed the soil without unnecessary chemicals. That's naturallawn.com.
ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Wow, we have this exciting show tonight, and we're talking about truth, and we like to talk about truth here on Native Roots Radio and the Truth Telling Project, and it's a little overwhelming to hear, and we're already halfway through, and I don't know. I want to know, Anne, how this still affects us today with all this stuff that we have, all this gunk, all this trauma and things, and the things that you guys revealed in your report. How does that affect us today?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one of the most important things that we've drawn correlations between is existing research on how land dispossession impacts social determinants of welfare for Indigenous people, such as houselessness, education rates, experiences with violence, our MMIR rates, our experiences with poverty. And so this was really personal to me. One of the last times that I was in the archives, Adriana came across a box of extension files. And for those who don't know, the extension is an office that goes out into the community and teaches on behalf of the university. And what we discovered in there was that the extension was involved in relocation processes. And there was 36 families from Boys Fort who were relocated just in this one project. And the names weren't listed, but the year was around the same time that my grandma was relocated. And so that really got me thinking about relocation and the trajectory that my family has been placed on personally, because the university, no university is created to pour into us in the way that it is other groups of people, right? It's very extractive from Indigenous people. We know that Western academia is really not only built off of the profit of Indigenous lands, but also the commodification of Indigenous knowledges. And so, you know, just some insight into my background. My family struggled a lot with addiction and domestic violence when I was young. And throughout some times of my teenage years, we were homeless. I ended up dropping out of high school, and I didn't start college until my own kids were in elementary school. And so just thinking about work by Indigenous scholars like Randall Aki, who directly draw that correlation of these wellness measures that we use so often in our daily lives. And that really helped me along some of my healing journey from my childhood, because even though it was really difficult to uncover or unwrap, you know, that truth, it's kind of like a wound, right? If you leave it covered too much, you allow it to fester. And so opening up and exposing it to air, exposing it to light, sharing that knowledge really allows for healing to begin. And I was able to see you know, that the adults in my life when I was a kid were placed in those situations. It wasn't necessarily by their own choice. And so it allowed me, through the help of some of those counseling services that we mentioned earlier, to really unpack some of that stuff that I uncovered in the archives, how it was related to my own community, and to the institution that I was a student and that I'm employed at.
Wow. Hey, Misty, can you talk about maybe a little, speak on reconciliation possibilities and how we go about that and how deep that is?
Sure. So we, during our process, we were very intent on hearing from as many people and asking as many people who, you know, what the university should do about, or what
be pre-recorded. Be pre-recorded.
There really is no
Hey, it's Patrick for
begin to look at ways that we
and turn it into positive action. We don't, that we can take our fear of loss and turn it into positive action. We don't, that you'd have no control over. And he said, no, it is pure energy. And that moment stayed with me forever, that we can take our fear of loss and turn it into positive action. We don't, don't action. We don't, action. We don't, 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 we don't,
Ed.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit more about some of those things that are irreconcilable. So one of the tribal research reports done by Leech Lake, Lori Harper, she talked about the impacts that the dams had on food systems and gathering wild rice. And the Army Corps of Engineers was conducting their research at the St. Anthony Falls Library. And so that's where the connection with the University of Minnesota comes in, is that they were helping to map where to place these dams. And now today, there's certain areas in certain places where we can't harvest Monoman anymore. And one of the other findings that we had found was that the United Nations has different criteria that need to be met to meet genocide. And throughout time and throughout the past 7 generations, all of those different pieces of genocide are met and are documented in some way through the Truth Report. I also wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about how this violence throughout time impacts us today. So today in the 7-county metro, 64.9% of 211 families that were interviewed are a part of a longitudinal study are experiencing poverty. 46% of families.
when I get scared, in a public setting and my heart starts pounding, I say something kind of corny, but I say, hey, Frankie, that is your inner applause going off.
That's
And
wonderful.
so,
That energy.
so
Pure
Yes.
energy.
yeah.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T.
And I am so grateful to have you three on. We'll be right back. We're talking about the Truth Project and the University of Minnesota specifically. We'll be right back after this short break.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff. Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. Are you still with us, Francis?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Terry.
No.
On Saturday, April 29th from 11 a.m. to 2. On Saturday, April.
Hey, Zoe. So, Zoe, why don't you jump in and wrangle us out here this last 9 minutes?
Yeah, so for our last segment, I just wanted to kind of ask you all about what comes next for this project, and also what comes next for each of you individually, because you all have your own careers, and I'd really love to hear about what it is that you plan to do after this. Maybe
And
we could
Misty.
start with Misty. There you go.
Yeah, sounds great. So for this project specifically, we will be presenting at American Indian Day on the Hill on May 10th in Minnesota's capital, St. Paul. We want to continue bringing attention to this issue and to the findings that we have. And I guess for me, at least, it's awaiting the response from the Board of Regents, from university leadership to see what they commit to doing about this issue. For me personally, I work as an evaluation project manager at Grassroots Solutions, which is a strategy and evaluation firm headquartered here in Minneapolis, but it's nationwide, and we'll continue to provide strategic directions to organizations that want our support.
And how about Adriana? And could you answer the same question, please?
Yeah, I'll kind of do it in a roundabout way, I guess. I kind of want to tie it back now again to the beginning of the conversation when we were talking about that trauma piece. What we also experienced throughout the project was a lot of hope. Hope that the institution can change. Hope that our people can heal from this trauma. Hope that we can continue to collaborate with one another. Hope to change some of the policies both within the University of Minnesota and through the state of Minnesota. I see opportunities as well at the federal level to provide funding.
Kill him. They saved his life. And we said, wait a minute. Isn't fear just an automatic instinct and that you'd have no control over? And he said, no, it is pure energy. And that moment stayed with me forever, that we can take our fear of loss and turn it into positive action. When I get scared, in a public setting and my heart starts pounding, I say something kind of corny, but I say, hey, Frankie, that is your inner applause going off.
That's wonderful. That energy.
Pure
yes.
And when we're able to unify our voices, so much change and so much goodness can happen. And so, the truth, this is just the beginning. This isn't a one and done. It needs to continue to be shared, continue to be told throughout time. There's always more minds that can be educated on this truth. So, miigwech.
Wow, these are the kind of shows that I get really emotional, and I mean that really seriously. We have 3 warriors here, and I'll count you too, Zoe, as the women are leading the way as usual, and I want to say I appreciate that. And go ahead.
Yeah, miigwech. So for the project, our funding's been over for a while. However, we're continuing to share our research, share our findings, and really what we've come to call this is a research movement. It's not just research, it's a movement to push for change at the university. So I'll continue to do that. Right now I'm a PhD student in American Studies, and then also working in Native American Affairs. So they won't be rid of me for a while, so I'll be there to harass them. I'm sure they'll get sick of me. But yeah, I think I echo so much of what Adriana said. This has been a really emotional journey, but it's also been an honor to be able to work on this project with so many amazing folks, and to have the support of all 11 tribes and the tribal leaders has really I guess, given us motivation to keep going at times when the project could have just stalled out. So we take that forward, that energy forward, and keep pushing for change with the momentum that we've built up.
Wow. Misty, we only got a couple minutes left here, but you must be super proud of this team and yourself. I am just flabbergasted. I'm talking old. I'm a junior elder here. I'm talking old person talk here, but I am flabbergasted on the tenacity that these young warriors have that you've picked out, Misty. You must be super proud of this whole thing and project and these people.
Yeah, it was really beautiful the way that we all came together. And I think that very proud that we were able to do this work, and it was a labor of love, love for, I think, our people, this land. And I think it was lovely to be able to also do it together with the tribes and have so many voices centered and a part of this with us. So miigwech to my team members, but also to you for having us.
Wow, and we really appreciate it. And where can people find and read this report, Misty, before we end the show? Because I'm sure people really want to read it all over Turtle Island.
Yeah, so it's actually on MIAC's website. So if I don't know by heart, if you Google MIAC Minnesota, it has its own page underneath our website, and you can download the full report with all the appendices, all 554 pages if you want it, or you can download the executive summary and other materials.
Well, Anne, Adriana, Misty, Pinigigi for being on. This was an unbelievable show and emotional for me to hear the great work that you guys are doing, and our future looks bright. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance from Chief Plentycoops. The ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. Free Leonard Peltier now.
On Saturday, April 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., join Seward Co-op for their 22nd annual Community-Supported Agricultural, or CSA Fair, plus a welcome party. Seward Community Co-op is dedicated to helping to build a food system that values inclusivity, environmental responsibility, equity, and access. Visit the CSA Fair to see these values in action and choose a CSA chair that is right for you and your household. There will be activities for kids, treats, prizes, and more. The event will also be celebrating Seward Co-op's new general manager, Ray Williams. In addition, Seward Co-op looks forward to offering community members a chance to engage in the future of the Creamery building by bringing them into the conversation about how the space can serve the community. Learn about a variety of different CSAs which offer vegetables, fruit, meat, cheese, bread, mushrooms, and add-ons like honey, maple syrup, eggs, and flowers. Others allow CSA chairs to be customized to fit your needs, such as half shares and weekly purchase options. Go to seward.coop/events for more information.
We are Alusa Nation.
My name's Amber from the Ho-Chunk Nation. You're listening to AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones